The Raleigh sunset spilled crimson across the horizon as Ethan Carter steered his SUV into the driveway of his modest home on Willow Creek Drive. At 38, with a lean frame honed by weekend runs and a tech consultant's knack for solving puzzles, Ethan carried an air of quiet intensity. His sharp green eyes scanned the familiar porch, but tonight, his heart thudded with a suspicion he couldn't shake. His marriage to Natalie, 35, a real estate agent whose warm smile once felt like home, had grown distant, small silences replacing their old laughter. He wasn't supposed to be back from Charlotte. His work conference was a lie, a carefully spun excuse to test a growing dread. Inside, the house was still, the hum of the fridge the only sound. Natalie's absence wasn't a surprise. She texted about a late client meeting, but a scarf on the couch caught Ethan's eye. Navy blue, silky, not his style. He lifted it, inhaling a faint trace of cologne, musky and unfamiliar. His jaw clenched. Ryan Hayes, his college friend turned landscaper, had been around too much lately, fixing their garden, lingering over beers. Ethan's mind flashed to Natalie's recent late nights, her vague excuses about open houses. He'd brushed it off, blaming stress, but the scarf felt like a slap. He didn't call her. Ethan wasn't one for outbursts. He played chess with life, always 3 moves ahead. Setting his laptop on the dining table, he opened a tracking app he'd installed on Natalie's phone weeks ago, piggybacking her cloud backups. The map loaded, a red dot pulsing at Ryan's downtown loft, not her office. Ethan's pulse quickened, but he stayed calm, his fingers steady as he cross-checked her texts. Running late, client stuff. She'd written at 6 p.m. A lie, bold and careless. Denial was gone, anger simmered, but Ethan channeled it into focus. He poured a coffee, black, and sat in the dim living room, the scarf still in hand. Memories of Ryan flooded back, his easy grin at their college bars, his charm that always drew a crowd. Ethan had trusted him, invited him into their home. And Natalie, her laugh, her touch, had she been slipping away all this time? The betrayal cut deep, but Ethan didn't want a fight. He wanted truth, exposed and undeniable. By midnight he'd mapped out a plan, not to confront, but to unravel their secret in a way they'd never see coming. He opened his laptop again, digging into Natalie's digital footprint. Her calendar showed a client dinner tomorrow, but her car's GPS logs told a different story, frequent stops at Ryan's address, always when Ethan was away. He found an email draft she hadn't sent, a flirty note to Ryan about next time. Each click tightened the knot in his chest, but it also sharpened his resolve. Ethan stood, pacing the hardwood floor. Confronting them would be too easy, too fleeting. He needed something bigger, a way to make them face their lies without bloodshed, something that would linger. His tech skills were his weapon. He'd spent years untangling corporate networks, spotting patterns others missed. Now, he'd turn that lens on his own life. He pulled a burner phone from his desk drawer, one he'd bought for a freelance job. It was clean, untraceable. Perfect. He texted Ryan from it, mimicking Natalie's tone. Meet me tomorrow, usual spot. Can't wait. Ryan's reply came fast. Same, babe. And Ethan's stomach churned. Proof, cold, and digital. He saved the exchange, then hacked into Natalie's cloud, downloading photos she'd shared with Ryan, nothing explicit, just smiles and closeness that stung worse than any affair. Ethan's plan began to form, expose their betrayal, but not with words. He'd stage a crisis, something to force their guilt into the open. The next step was riskier. Ethan drove to a 24-hour pharmacy, buying medical supplies, syringes, saline, a small cooler. Back home, he researched forensics online, skimming articles about crime scenes. He wasn't building a case, he was building a trap. By 3 a.m., he'd sketched a timeline. Tomorrow, while Natalie thought he was in Charlotte, he'd head to Umstead Park, a quiet stretch of woods outside Raleigh. There, he'd plant evidence, not to hurt, but to haunt. Ethan leaned back, staring at the ceiling. The house felt foreign now, a stage for a life he no longer recognized. He thought of Natalie's laugh, how it used to light up their late-night talks. Had it all been a lie? And Ryan, had their friendship meant nothing? The questions burned, but Ethan pushed them down. He wasn't a victim, he was a strategist. By morning, he'd packed a duffel with his supplies, his face set with purpose. Natalie would be home soon, oblivious, and Ethan would be gone, setting his plan in motion. As dawn broke, he sent Natalie a text from his real phone. "Conference going well, back Monday." She replied with a heart emoji, and Ethan's grip tightened on the wheel as he drove toward the park. The game had begun, and he'd play it to the end. Umstead Park was a silent expanse of pines and shadows as Ethan Carter parked his SUV on a gravel service road, the moon a sliver above. It was 2 a.m., Saturday, and Raleigh slept, oblivious to the storm brewing in his chest. At 38, Ethan was no stranger to high-stakes projects. His tech consulting job thrived on precision, but tonight's work was personal. Natalie, his wife of 7 years, thought he was in Charlotte, schmoozing at a conference. Instead, he was here, his duffel bag heavy with supplies, ready to weave a trap for her and Ryan Hayes, his old friend turned traitor. Ethan stepped into the chill, his breath visible. The park was perfect, secluded, yet close enough to spark a quick police response. He'd scouted this spot weeks ago, a clearing hidden by oaks, far from trails. His plan wasn't violence. It was exposure, a way to make Natalie and Ryan's lies unravel publicly. He unzipped the duffel, laying out his tools on a tarp, medical syringes, saline vials, a small cooler, a USB drive, and a stack of printed emails, fakes he'd crafted to look like Natalie's. Each item was a chess piece in his gambit. He started with the emails, doctored screenshots of Natalie planning meetups with Ryan. "Can't wait for tomorrow." One read, timestamped tonight. Ethan had hacked her account to mimic her style, planting them in a dummy cloud folder he'd leak later. Next, he pulled a burner laptop from the bag, one he'd bought cash at a pawn shop. On it, he uploaded a video, grainy, staged footage of a man resembling him arguing with a shadowed figure, edited to suggest a confrontation. The file was encrypted, set to auto-send to a local news tip line in 48 hours unless he stopped it. Ethan's hands moved fast, steady despite the ache in his gut. He thought of Natalie's smile at their last anniversary, how it felt real then. Now, her text to Ryan, "You make me forget everything," burned in his memory. Ryan's betrayal was worse. They'd shared beers, swapped stories. Ethan shook it off, focusing. He opened the cooler, prepping the saline. Blood was too risky, too traceable, so he'd use a red-tinted mix, food coloring and water, to mimic a crime scene. He poured it carefully across his car's passenger seat, letting it pool for effect. The clearing became his stage. He dragged a branch through the dirt, carving jagged lines to suggest a struggle. A spare jacket, one Natalie had borrowed, went under the car's tire, torn for drama. Ethan added Ryan's touch, a gardening glove, swiped from his truck last week, tossed near a tree. Every detail was deliberate, a breadcrumb for the cops. He stepped back, checking his work. The scene screamed chaos, but it was controlled chaos, his design. By 4 a.m., exhaustion hit, but Ethan pressed on. He drove to a payphone 10 miles away, an old relic outside a gas station. Using a voice modulator app, he dialed 911, pitching his voice high, frantic. "I was jogging in Umstead Park, near the service road. There's a car, doors open, red stains everywhere. I'm scared, please hurry." He hung up before they could ask more, his heart racing. The call was his spark, now the fire would spread. Back at the park, Ethan wiped his prints from the car's handles, leaving it staged, keys in the ignition, lights on. He grabbed the duffel and hiked to a second vehicle, a beat-up sedan he'd bought for cash under a fake name. Slumped in the driver's seat, he felt the weight of what he'd done. Not guilt, clarity. Natalie and Ryan had broken his trust. This was their reckoning. He drove to a motel on the city's edge, checked in as John Reed, and collapsed onto a stiff bed. Morning light crept through the blinds as Ethan woke, his burner phone buzzing. A news alert. Abandoned car found in Umstead Park, police investigating. He allowed himself a tight smile. Phase 1 was complete. He showered, swapped his clothes for a hoodie and jeans, and opened his laptop. The tracking app showed Natalie's car still at Ryan's loft. Good, they were together, oblivious, just as he'd planned. Ethan's next move was digital. He logged into a VPN, routing through servers abroad, and sent an anonymous tip to Raleigh PD's crime line. Check Natalie Carter's phone records. She's hiding something. He attached one fake email, enough to nudge the cops toward her. Then, he scheduled a second video drop for Monday, a witness clip he'd fabricated, showing a car like Ryan's near the park. Each step tightened the net around them. As noon hit, Ethan grabbed a burger from a drive-thru, eating in the sedan. His real phone stayed off. He was a ghost now, moving through the cracks of his old life. He thought of Natalie waking up at Ryan's, maybe laughing, unaware of the sirens closing in. Ryan's cocky grin, would it hold when the questions started? Ethan didn't care about their excuses. He wanted them exposed, their lies laid bare for the world to judge. He drove to a storage unit, where he'd stashed a hard drive with backups of his work, insurance if the plan went sideways. Locking it away, he felt a pang. This wasn't the life he'd wanted. He'd pictured kids with Natalie, a future. Now, he was rewriting his story alone. But alone was better than betrayed. As dusk fell, Ethan checked his burner, another alert. Police seeking Ethan Carter, car linked to possible crime. The web was tightening, just as he'd spun it. The morning sun glared over Raleigh as Detective Lauren Brooks parked her sedan outside Umstead Park's cordoned-off clearing. At 42, with a runner's build and eyes that missed nothing, she'd seen her share of cases, but this one felt off. The call had come at dawn, a jogger's panic 911 about a car, doors open, red stains, no driver. Now, standing by Ethan Carter's SUV, Brooks took in the scene. Stains smeared the passenger seat, a torn jacket lay under the tire, and a gardening glove sat near a tree. No body, no witnesses, just questions. She crouched, noting drag marks in the dirt. Staged or sloppy? She muttered to Officer Jenna Miles, who was logging evidence. The glove's logo, Hayes Landscaping, rang a bell. Ryan Hayes, a local contractor, had crossed her desk before, a minor DUI years back. The car's registration confirmed Ethan Carter, 38, tech consultant, married. Brooks pulled his DMV photo, lean face, intense stare. Missing or hiding? Her gut leaned toward trouble. By noon, Brooks was at Willow Creek Drive, knocking on Ethan's door. Natalie Carter answered, auburn hair loose, her smile fading fast. Ethan's in Charlotte, she said, clutching her phone. A conference. Brooks held up a photo of the car. Found this morning, ma'am. Stains, signs of a struggle. When'd you last talk to him? Natalie's eyes darted. Yesterday. He texted about work. Her voice shook, but Brooks caught a flicker, guilt, not grief. Inside, Natalie fumbled for her phone, dialing Ethan. It rang in Brooks' pocket, evidence from the scene. Found it in the car, Brooks said, watching Natalie pale. Can you confirm his plans? Natalie stammered. He's at the Hilton, I think. I'll check. She scrolled her contacts, hands unsteady. Brooks noted a scarf on the couch, out of place in the tidy room. Anyone else he's close to? She asked. Natalie hesitated. Ryan Hayes, his friend. They go way back. Brooks drove to Ryan's downtown loft, a sleek space with exposed brick. Ryan, 37, broad-shouldered with a forced grin, opened the door. Ethan? Yeah, he's in Charlotte. What's this about? Brooks showed the glove's photo. Yours? Ryan's jaw tightened. I've got dozens of those. Lost one last week. His alibi matched Natalie's. Dinner together, nothing more. But his eyes flicked to the floor when Brooks mentioned Ethan's car. She left, unconvinced. Back at the station, Brooks dug into Ethan's life. His co-workers at TechTrend described him as sharp, lately distracted. Said his wife was busy, one added. Natalie's phone records, pulled with a quick warrant, showed late-night calls to Ryan. An anonymous tip hit the crime line. Check Natalie Carter's emails. Brooks found a leaked folder, flirty messages to Ryan, plans to meet last night. Fake or not, they painted a picture. Ethan's laptop, recovered from home, had a draft to his lawyer. Divorce. She's with Ryan. By evening, evidence mounted. Forensics tied the glove to Ryan's business, same brand, same wear. Stains on the car tested as a non-human compound, odd but not exculpatory. A neighbor reported seeing Natalie's car at Ryan's past midnight. Brooks called them in. Natalie sat in the interview room, twisting a ring. We're friends, she insisted. Ethan's fine, you'll see. But her timeline cracked. She'd been with Ryan, not home, when Ethan vanished. Ryan was next, sweat beading on his brow. Yeah, I saw Natalie. So what? Ethan's my buddy. Brooks slid the emails across the table. These suggest more. Did Ethan find out? Ryan froze, then slumped. It's not what it looks like. We just clicked. Brooks leaned in. Your gloves at the scene, Ryan. Explain that. He couldn't, only mumbling about theft. She let them stew, separate rooms, as she briefed her captain. Motives there, affair. Means and opportunity? Maybe. Sunday brought a new tip, a blurry video from an eyewitness, showing a truck like Ryan's near Umstead at 3 a.m. Brooks traced it. Plates were close but not exact. Still, it tightened the screws. She re-interviewed Natalie, who broke, tears streaming. I didn't mean to hurt Ethan. It just happened with Ryan. But we'd never. Brooks cut her off. Your car was at Ryan's when this went down. Where's Ethan now? Natalie had no answer, just sobs. Ryan's second round was worse. I didn't touch Ethan, he snapped, fists clenched. Maybe he set this up to screw us. Brooks raised an eyebrow. You think he faked his own disappearance? Why? Ryan had no reply, just anger. Brooks stepped out, her mind racing. The stains weren't blood, lab-confirmed food dye, but the setup screamed intent. Was Ethan a victim, or pulling strings? She ordered a deeper dive into his digital trail, suspecting more. As night fell, Brooks stood by her desk, case files spread out. Ethan's phone had no new pings. His accounts were silent. Yet the emails, the glove, the video, they felt too neat, like pieces arranged. She thought of Natalie's tears, Ryan's defiance. Guilt was clear, but murder? Her gut said no body, no crime. Still, the DA pushed charges, obstruction, tampering, hedging bets. Brooks sighed, grabbing her coat. Whatever Ethan was playing at, he'd left a mess, and she'd unravel it. The Raleigh courthouse buzzed with tension as Natalie Carter sat at the defense table, her hands clasped tight. At 35, her usual spark was gone, replaced by a weary stare. Across from her, Ryan Hayes, 37, shifted uneasily, his landscaper's tan faded under fluorescent lights. The gallery whispered, reporters, neighbors, Ethan's coworkers, all drawn to the case that had gripped the city for weeks. Detective Lauren Brooks stood at the back, arms crossed, her gut still nagging that something was off. Today, the truth would either surface or bury them all. Prosecutor Mia Torres rose, her voice sharp. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Carter vanished, leaving a staged car and a trail of lies. Natalie Carter and Ryan Hayes hid an affair, betrayed a husband and friend. When Ethan uncovered it, they silenced him. She pointed to exhibits, fake emails from Natalie to Ryan, a gardening glove, a video of a truck near Umstead Park. Their guilt is clear, obstruction, tampering, maybe worse. The jury leaned in, faces grim, as Torres sat confident. Defense attorney Sam Whitaker stood, his gray suit crisp. No body, no crime, he said, calm but firm. My clients are victims of a setup, not criminals. Ethan Carter's disappearance is a mystery, not a murder. These emails? Planted. That glove? Stolen. The video? Too blurry to convict. He glanced at Natalie, who looked down, then Ryan, who nodded slightly. They made mistakes, yes. But guilt over an affair isn't guilt of harm. The jury shifted, unsure, as Whitaker took his seat. Testimony began with forensics. A lab tech confirmed the car's stains were dye, not blood, but argued the scene screamed intent to deceive. Someone wanted it to look real, she said. Brooks frowned. Ethan's doing, she'd bet. Natalie took the stand next, voice trembling. I hurt Ethan emotionally, she admitted. I spent time with Ryan, kept it secret. But I'd never harm him. Torres pounced. You were with Ryan when Ethan vanished. How convenient. Natalie's eyes welled up, no answer ready. Ryan's turn was rougher. I messed up, he said, voice low. Ethan was my friend. Yeah, I got close to Natalie. But hurt him? Never. Torres held up the glove. Yours, found at the scene. Explain. Ryan stammered. Could have been taken from my truck. The jury's stares hardened. His charm wasn't working. Whitaker tried to pivot, asking about Ethan's tech skills. He could hack anything, right? Ryan nodded, but doubt lingered. Brooks jotted a note. Ethan's the ghost here. Day 2 brought Ethan's coworker, who testified Ethan seemed stressed, mentioning trust issues at home. A digital expert followed, tracing the fake emails to a burner account, unlinked to Natalie or Ryan. Someone with skills set this up, he said. Whitaker pressed. Like Ethan Carter, a tech consultant? The expert shrugged. Possible. The jury murmured, and Brooks caught a reporter typing fast. The case was cracking, but toward what? By day 3, Torres pushed hard, replaying the truck video. This matches Mr. Hayes' vehicle, seen hours after Ethan's car was found. Whitaker countered. Plates don't match. It's circumstantial. Natalie's composure broke as Torres listed her lies, secret meetups, deleted texts. You wanted Ethan gone, Torres said. Natalie sobbed. No, I loved him. The jury looked unmoved, and Ryan's head dropped. Conviction loomed like a storm cloud. Then chaos. At lunch, a courier rushed into Whitaker's office, dropping a package from the Triangle Innocence Network. Inside, a USB drive labeled Ethan Carter. Whitaker played it in chambers, Judge Clara Nguyen and Torres watching. Ethan's face filled the screen, older calm. I'm alive, he said. I staged the car, the stains, the emails. Natalie and Ryan betrayed me. I wanted them exposed, not jailed. He detailed his plan, hacked accounts, a glove swiped from Ryan's truck. A notarized letter and fingerprints backed it up. Nguyen called an emergency session. The courtroom hushed as Whitaker presented the video. Natalie gasped, Ryan froze, and Brooks' jaw tightened. Her gut was right. Torres objected. This could be manipulated. But the expert verified it. Fingerprints matched Ethan's DMV record. The letter's ink was fresh. Nguyen halted proceedings. We need time to authenticate, she said, but her tone hinted at doubt. The jury was dismissed, whispers erupting. Reporters bolted, phones out. Brooks met Whitaker outside. He played us all, she said. Whitaker nodded. Client's free, but Ethan's a fugitive now. Natalie and Ryan sat in a holding room, stunned. He's alive, Natalie whispered, tears falling, not relief, but shame. Ryan stared at the wall. He won. Charges were paused pending review, and by evening, Natalie and Ryan walked free, no cuffs, but no victory. The city buzzed with Ethan's name, hero or villain? Brooks drove home, replaying Ethan's video. He'd outsmarted everyone, but why surface now? Guilt? Pride? She pulled his file again, hunting for digital traces. A new tip hit her inbox, an IP address, Boise, Idaho, linked to the video's upload. Ethan was out there, rewriting his life. Natalie and Ryan faced no charges yet, but their lies had cost them friends, jobs, respect. Brooks shut her laptop. Justice felt slippery, but the game wasn't over. The Raleigh air felt heavy as Natalie Carter stepped out of the courthouse, her freedom bittersweet. At 35, she was a shadow of the vibrant realtor she'd been, her auburn hair dull, her eyes hollow. Ryan Hayes trailed behind, his broad frame slouched, the landscaper's confidence gone. The city's buzz, reporters shouting, cameras flashing, followed their release, but no one cheered. Ethan Carter's video had shattered the case, proving he was alive, his disappearance a trap to expose their betrayal. Now, Natalie and Ryan faced a different prison, shame. Natalie drove to her empty home on Willow Creek Drive, the for sale sign already up. Inside, she avoided mirrors, unable to face the woman who'd lied to Ethan, her husband of 7 years. She sank onto the couch, clutching a divorce notice Ethan had filed before vanishing. Her phone stayed silent. Friends had ghosted her, her clients long gone. She thought of Ryan's last words outside court. "We're done." No apology, just cold finality. Their affair, once a reckless spark, was ash, and she hated herself for it. Ryan, meanwhile, packed a bag in his downtown loft. His landscaping business had collapsed, debts piled up, contracts cancelled when the trial hit the news. At 37, he was starting over, bound for Durham, where no one knew his name. He tossed a photo of him and Ethan from college, beers raised, grins wide, into the trash. Ethan's voice from the video echoed. "You betrayed me." Ryan's fists clenched, but anger faded to regret. He'd lost more than a friend, he'd lost his way. Detective Lauren Brooks sat at her desk, case files closed but questions open. At 42, she'd cracked tough cases, but Ethan's game stumped her. His video, sent from Boise, Idaho, per an IP trace, showed a man remade, calm, untouchable. She'd pushed for a warrant, citing fraud, but Ethan was a ghost, his digital trail scrubbed. Brooks sipped coffee, replaying his words. "I wanted them exposed." He'd won, but at what cost? She jotted a note to check Boise leads, unwilling to let it go. A week later, a plain envelope arrived at Natalie's new apartment, a cramped rental in Asheville. Her hands shook as she opened it, Ethan's handwriting, no return address. "Natalie," it read, "I'm sorry for the pain, but your lies broke us. I've built a new life, a family. You'll rebuild too, but live with the truth." No signature, just finality. She crumpled it, tears falling. Not for Ethan, but for the woman she'd been, careless, selfish. The letter was closure, not forgiveness. Natalie started volunteering at a women's shelter, helping others reclaim their lives. It wasn't redemption, not yet, but it was purpose. She'd answer calls late at night, her voice steady, guiding strangers through their own wreckage. Friends stayed gone, but she found quiet strength in small acts, brewing coffee for a nervous client, listening without judgment. Ethan's shadow lingered, but she was learning to step past it, one choice at a time. Ryan landed a warehouse job in Durham, hauling crates under fluorescent lights. The pay was low, the hours long, but it kept him moving. He'd traded his old charm for silence, nodding to coworkers without stories. At night, he'd sit alone, sketching garden designs he'd never built. A coworker once asked about his past. Ryan shrugged. "Made mistakes," he said, and left it there. Ethan's plan had stripped him bare, but he was grafting a new life, slow and steady. Brooks got a tip months later. A Boise startup had hired a coder matching Ethan's skills, using a new name. She sent a query, but the trail went cold. He moved again, likely tipped off. She leaned back, staring at her board, Ethan's DMV photo pinned like a taunt. "You're out there," she muttered. The state wanted him for obstruction, but Brooks saw more, a man who traded vengeance for freedom, leaving chaos behind. Natalie and Ryan each got a state check, $50,000, compensation for wrongful charges. Natalie donated hers to the shelter, keeping just enough for rent. Ryan paid debts, pocketing the rest for a truck. They never spoke again, their paths split by guilt. Natalie's parents called once, urging her home, but she stayed, rooted to her new start. Ryan's cousin visited, offering a couch if he needed it. He didn't. One night, Natalie walked Asheville's quiet streets, passing a cafe where she and Ethan once laughed over lattes. She paused, breath catching, then kept going. Ryan, miles away, saw a Raleigh news clip online, Brooks vowing to find Ethan. He shut his laptop, no smirk left. Both carried scars, not from jail, but from choices. Ethan's letter had said it, live with the truth. Brooks filed her report, the case officially open. A new email pinged, anonymous, no text, just a photo of a park, pines like Umstead's. She zoomed in, heart skipping. A figure stood, face blurred, but the stance felt familiar. Got you, she whispered, saving it. Ethan was gone, for now, but truth had a way of surfacing. Natalie and Ryan rebuilt, broken but wiser, while Ethan's web held one last thread, waiting to snap.